Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips have been producing some of the best comics over the last couple decades. And they don't get a lot of talk just because they're indie books. They kind of quit the whole Marvel and DC rat race and just do their own noir books, and they're freaking awesome. This one's called Night Fever. It's a brand new one. And over the last few years, they've been doing a series called Reckless, which follows a sort of a PI type of guy who's, and it goes through his life. Now, they've taken a break from that to do this, and this is a really bizarre one. So I can't show all the pages because there's actually a substantive amount of nudity in it. Here's the actual cover for the book. That's usual retail, but this is the San Diego Comic-Con slipcase that they just put on for that. Honestly, they didn't do a great job quality-wise cutting the slipcase cover for San Diego Comic-Con. It's a little wrinkly even to start, which I was kind of bummed about, but that's okay. The book itself is really good. I'm going to go to the first couple pages, and then we're going to stop turning pages because the YouTube censors, we don't want to have problems with that. But it starts out with a guy in the publishing industry, and he is visiting Europe. And I guess Ed Brubaker said at the end of this book that Sean Phillips was sick of trying to recreate LA in various time periods, and he actually wanted to draw areas he knew. So he went and drew a bunch of stuff in Europe. And there's this guy who's like working for a publisher, and he reads this book. And this book has a dream that he kind of recognizes. And so he feels like his dream is stolen by this author, and he does not know why. And this takes place in 1978. So, of course, you get some of that noir feel where it's like there's not security cameras and things like that. They really like these 70s and 60s time periods. And you could see that just like the meticulous detail in the art is just so good. I love this kind of muted feeling that Sean Phillips gives. And even in scenes where they're just sitting and reading, look at this. This is a guy just sitting and reading on an airplane, but you can see how dynamic the different panels are to where he just like really gives different perspectives. And this is the difference between like a master artist and an artist who like doesn't know what to do. Because a lot of times you just see the same kind of head and the same pose across different things. Now he gets to Europe, and he's depressed about his life, and he ends up just going out in the middle of the night and ends up kind of getting into this like weird nightclub where he kind of steals a guy's identity. And you can see the coloring's really good too, by the way. You notice how like here's like kind of his dream, and it's all in red because it's bothering him, and then it goes into blue because he's really depressed and sad. So like, I mean, the coloring adds a lot to this too. It's really cool. I can't speak highly enough of this stuff. So he meets up and he goes to this club, and he actually stole a guy's identity by mistake. Ends up getting $10,000 of chips for a gambling sort of deal. Makes a ton of money, gets wasted out of his mind, and ends up just going on this bender for days where he kind of really doesn't know what's happening. He's out of control. He's living a life where he's being degenerate, and he knows it. And so does the other guy. The other guy kind of encourages him in it. And eventually it leads to him doing things like murdering the author of this book. Does things like, having wild sexual fantasies, which he's married at home to. So it's very uncomfortable. And he is uncomfortable throughout the entire thing. He realizes at some point, like, despite the fact that this is his freedom and all that, this is a very dark path, and it's kind of bad, and ends up turning on the fellow whose identity he stole. Now, it's not clear exactly who that is, but he feels like there's supernatural stuff going on. He talks about like lizard people and the like, but it turns out he's on drugs for a little bit of this too. And even though he felt like that his dream was stolen by this book, when he rereads it on the way back, he realizes he made a mistake, and it really wasn't like his dream. And so even he did all this stuff and realizes he made a terrible mistake, goes back home to his wife and pretends like nothing ever happened. It's really a dark story. And nobody's the hero here. Everybody in this is kind of shows their ugly side. And Brubaker talks about that at the end of his book. Very different than a lot of his stuff, because you expect like this mystery to unfold. And there is a mystery of who the guy is throughout all of this, who's kind of assisting him and urging him on in all this. And it sounds like he's a Russian spy who's like out to get revenge on the West. But it's not exactly clear, and he really doesn't get any of the answers he wants, and that's it. I guess that's kind of the moral of the story, is like you can delve deep into this stuff, but it's never going to give you the answers you want. It's never going to give you the real fulfillment that you're looking for. And that is the Night Fever in a nutshell. So really good stuff, even though it's really dark. I call this an 8.5 out of 10. I look forward to their next offering as usual. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.